This episode of the Jim Stroud Podcast is brought to you by the Recruiting Life newsletter. Keep up with what's happening now and what's coming next in the world of work. Subscribe now at newsletter.jimstroud.com. That's newsletter.jimstroud.com. What if the job market wasn't broken? What if it's just finally telling the truth? In this special report, we're diving into one of the most controversial shifts in hiring today. Job seekers paying recruiters to represent them. Some call it exploitation. Others call it strategy. Either way, it signals something bigger happening beneath the surface. This isn't just about reverse recruiting. It's about access. It's about visibility. It's about who really controls opportunity in a market increasingly shaped by algorithms and money. If you work in recruiting, HR, or you're trying to navigate your own career, this conversation is not optional. It's already affecting you today. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Paying to be seen. Something big has shifted in the job market. For years, companies paid to find talent. They paid recruiters, they paid job boards, they paid for software, ads, sourcing tools. Money flowed from the employer side. But now some job seekers are paying recruiters. Not for resume edits, not for interview coaching. They're paying someone to pitch them to employers, and that's different. When unemployed people start paying to get access to hiring managers, that's not a small trend. That's pressure in the system. Recently, the Wall Street Journal reported on candidates paying thousands of dollars to so-called reverse recruiters to represent them. That's not desperation in isolation. That's a market telling us something. So let's say it plainly. Reverse recruiting isn't just controversial. It's revealing. Companies paid, maybe they've always paid. Yeah, companies always paid for visibility, right? They paid to attract applicants. They pay to search databases. They pay to amplify their employer brand. Job seekers paid too. They just paid differently. They paid with time, with unpaid labor, with stress, with months of waiting. Now the bill is more direct, and that makes people uncomfortable. We like to believe hiring is simple. The best candidate wins. But anyone who has worked in recruiting knows something else is true. Visibility matters. Two equally qualified people do not get the same outcome if only one of them gets noticed. Reverse recruiting is about getting noticed. Is it exploitative? Sometimes it might be. Is it strategic? For some people, yes. Yeah, I would say yeah. But more than anything, it shows us this. The job market isn't just about merit. It's about access. And once you understand that, you stop pretending the system works the way it's described in career advice blogs. That realization hits differently. Some people feel anger because of it. Others feel clarity. And clarity changes how you move. Chapter 2: The Employer's Quiet Advantage. Now let's flip the lens. What does this look like from the company side? If candidates are paying to be represented, companies don't have to spend as much time or money finding them. The sourcing? Handled elsewhere. The outreach? Already done. The pitch? Delivered. From a purely business standpoint, that's efficient. It just is. And here's something else. When someone pays to get in front of your company, they are invested. They're serious. That can look attractive to an employer. But there's a trade-off, because when candidates use paid advocates, often supported by AI, everything starts to look polished. Resumes are optimized. Messages are customized. Applications are scaled. Soon, everyone looks impressive. And when everyone looks optimized, it gets harder to tell who's truly the best fit. Hiring shifts from who could actually do this job well to who was packaged the best. That's a totally different question. Over time, this can create noise, more screening tools, more automation, more, skepticism. Yeah. Companies may save money up front, but they may spend more energy sorting through a sea of professionally managed candidates. And here's the risk. The unconventional thinker, the quiet high performer, the person who refuses to game the system, well, they may get overlooked. Not because they lack skill, but because they lack amplification. That's not drama. That's how markets work when signal becomes a product. And that's something talent leaders need to think about, and think about very carefully. Chapter 3: AI and the Performance of Identity. Now let's talk about AI. You've probably heard people say, AI is ruining authenticity in hiring. But let's be honest, hiring has always involved performance to some degree. Your resume, a curated story. Your interview answers, practiced. Your LinkedIn profile, strategic. AI didn't create performance. It just made it faster and more scalable. Now candidates can use tools that rewrite their resume for every application, send personalized outreach automatically, track and follow up with precision, apply to dozens, hundreds of roles in minutes. When that's paired with reverse recruiting, the candidate becomes a managed brand. That's not automatically bad. It's not. But it changes what agency looks like. Because instead of instead of personally navigating every step, you may oversee tools that do it for you. So here's, I'll say it. Here's the uncomfortable question. If your AI tools are doing most of the applying, who's actually showing up? Is it you or the optimized version of you? And let's go one step further. The job market rewards measurable signals, keywords, response speed, engagement levels. AI is very good at measurable signals. Human nuance, not so much. So as more people use AI to compete, the baseline, it shifts, right? What used to be impressive, well, it becomes normal. Opting out starts to feel risky. This is how technology changes markets. It doesn't ask permission. It just resets expectations. Does that empower workers? In some ways, yeah. Yeah, in some ways, yes. People who felt invisible now have leverage. They can amplify themselves. They can compete more aggressively. But control is a different matter. If visibility depends on algorithms and access depends on platforms, then power sits with whoever controls those systems. That's the part, hmm, that's the part most people aren't talking about. Chapter 4, the parallel labor economy. Reverse recruiting isn't just a quirky side service. It's early infrastructure. We are watching the rise of a parallel labor market, I think. And in this market, visibility is managed, access is sold, advocacy is purchased. The traditional model was simple. Company posted a job, a candidate applied, and a company decided who to hire. This new model is more layered. Is that the right word I'm looking for? Yeah. This new model is more layered. A candidate invests, advocate amplifies the candidate, algorithms surface, company evaluates. That's not collapse. That's redesign. And redesign changes behavior. Will more candidates budget for visibility? Possibly. Will access become something people expect to pay for? In some segments, maybe. But here's what matters most. The labor market has always rewarded people who understand how to navigate it. Reverse recruiting doesn't invent inequality. It makes navigation more explicit. And when navigation becomes something you can buy, reactions split. Some people get frustrated. Others adjust. Recruiters and HR leaders now face a real question. Do we let visibility economics dominate hiring? Or do we design processes that surface real capability without requiring paid amplification? Because if polish becomes more important than substance, everyone loses eventually. Reverse recruiting isn't the end of traditional employment. It's a signal flare, a big one. It's telling us the system is under strain. It's telling us access matters more than we admit. And it's focusing us to ask whether hiring is about finding talent or finding the loudest signal. That conversation is just beginning. Feeling overwhelmed by all the changes in today's workplace? AI, remote work, hiring freezes. It's a lot to keep up with. That's why you need the Recruiting Life newsletter. Get expert insights on what's happening right now and what's coming next in the world of work. Whether you're job hunting, hiring, or just trying to stay ahead of it all, Jim Stroud breaks it down for you every week. Subscribe now at newsletter.jimstroud.com. That's newsletter.jimstroud.com. The Recruiting Life, giving you clarity on what's happening now and next in the world of work. At the beginning of this report, I asked a simple question. What happens when people start paying to be seen? Well, that question isn't going away. And I think recruiters, employers, and anyone trying to build a career in a market where visibility has become currency, well, I think they really, really, really want to know the answer to that question. And I want to know the answer too. You have been listening to the Jim Stroud Podcast, a proud member of the Purple Acorn Network. If you like what you heard, hate what you heard, or don't know what you just heard, I want to know about it. Email your questions and comments to podcast@jimstroud.com. That's podcast@jimstroud.com. Do it now. Operators are standing by. Well, that's it for now. I'll be back later, right here, with a brand new episode. So until then, bye-bye.